This tutorial is going to go over the quadratics problem from last week's test. The first thing that I want to point out about this problem is the function. Whenever you see something like this in the question given, take a very close look at it. And a good first step with this is to identify the different parts of it and connect it to the general form ax squared plus bx plus c. And we can see that this x squared is at the end, and the a is equal to -1. The b, the coefficient in front of x, is unknown. And then also c, which is the constant, is also unknown. And you can bet that when you see that, they're going to ask you to find those unknowns, b and c, later in the question. The other thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at the other information given about the points. Now we're told that A, this point here, is at point 0, at 0,5, and also B is at 2, 9. Now, that's important to label and think about that. Now, the first question that we're given, write down the value of C. Well, we have to go back. We have to identify what C is. Well, C here is unknown, and also it's the constant, as I pointed out earlier. Now, that simply is the y-intercept, so we can connect it there. And notice that they don't ask us to calculate. They just say write down. So for the solution to A, C is equal to 5. Okay. For part B, it asks us to find the value of B, which, as we identified before, is an unknown, and it's the coefficient in front of the x term. Now, what you're going to need to do for this is you're going to have to realize that you will need to use the axis of symmetry equation that is given in the formula booklet, which is x equals -b over 2a. Now let's think about this for a moment. Remember, the axis of symmetry is the vertical line that slices the parabola in half, and it has an x-coordinate, or it crosses the x-axis at 2 in this case. So we can use that information. And we can also use the information that A is equal to -1. So here we can substitute 2 from x equals 2, which we got from here. We can substitute 2 in for x, and we can also substitute -1 in for A, which is right here. We got that from the from the equation given. Okay, with a little bit of algebra, multiply both sides by -2. And then finally, we have -4 equals -b, but positive b, which is what we want to know, is equal to 4. And that's your answer for that. So, using what we got from part A and part B, we can construct the equation given, filling in the gaps. And we're going to do that in order to find the x-intercepts. So we can see that f of x, using the information we just found, is going to be 5, that's c, plus 4x, that's the b that we just found, minus x squared. Now, to do this efficiently in a test situation, you're going to want to use your graphic display calculator, and you're going to go in your y equals screen, 5 plus 4x minus x squared, and then second calc zeros. And then remember, the process for finding the zeros is left bound, right bound. And the 0 on the left-hand side, this 0 here, you will find to be -1. And this 0 here, you will find to be using your calculator, 5, positive 5. Okay? Finally, part D asks us to factorize this. Now, this looks intimidating, but if we start off by rearranging the formula, or I mean the function that we have here into an order that we're more comfortable with or more familiar with, then what you can do is you can factorize out a -1. And so you take a -1 out of there, and x squared, and then also here you're going to since you factorize out a negative, you're going to get a -4x, and again here, since you factorize out a negative, you get a -5. And you can remember that because if you were to distribute this, then you will get the opposite of all of what's in the top here. Okay, now the next step is going to be factorizing this into 2 brackets. And just in case you're wondering, the bread tuk-tuk is out in front of my house. So remember, what we're looking for is what 2 factors multiply to be -5 and add to be -4. Well, that's going to be -5 times +1. Okay, so there we have the solution to this problem. That is a solution to D. Now, how do you know whether you're right? Well, if you think about it, each of these factors that has an x in them should, if you were to try and find what makes them 0, these should correspond to the x-intercepts that you found before, which they do indeed. Now, just a note, many students made errors when they were factorizing this problem on the test because they put this as +5 and this is -1 because this said -1 here and this said +5. However, remember that when you basically the factor is going to be the opposite of what the solution is. So this here is going to be correct in order to get a +5. Just something to remember. Okay. Thanks for watching, and good luck preparing for your